ba 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 ba. Well, welcome back to another episode of Youth Ministry Insights, and I am hoping that that is the first and the last time that you have to hear me sing. I digress. I am happy today to talk to you about the Youth Group Olympics. This is one of my favorite events of the year that I love to implement into my different ministries, even my youngest one with our grammar school age students, the 3rd through 5th graders, and then the middle school students, the high school students. You can even do this with the young adults, and you can take it any creativity way you like. But I'm going to just give you a couple tips, a couple pointers of the way that I have implemented the Youth Group Olympics into my ministries. So think big, broad scale if you like. You can also make this an event that is your youth group versus other youth groups as well. So again, I've done it in all different ways, but I'm going to give you some nuts and bolts on how to have a Youth Group Olympics be successful. So first, just like the Olympics, you can do a summer and a winter Youth Group Olympics. So you don't have to limit it to just one time a year. I've done it twice a year, kind of, around the summer, around the winter. It doesn't have to exactly fall then, but we would call it the Summer Olympics, the Youth Group Olympics, that kind of thing. So this is going to be one of those events that is not super packed with the faith, but there is going to be touches of it, and it's going to have a ton of fun. So you want to tell your core team, youth leaders, all of your regular youth group members, Youth Group Olympics is coming up. This is one of those meetings that you want to bring a friend. This is one of those meetings that it's going to be super fun. There's going to be prizes for the winning teams. You want to get your friends on your team so you have a really great team. So you really want to talk it up in that respect. It's one of those bigger events that kind of catches more of the youth to try to draw them into your ministry. You can, of course, have a guest speaker at an event like this, because anytime you know you're going to have a lot of youth there, you might want to get a guest speaker so that you really do have a captive audience already before you. Don't make it too long, because remember, they're there for that Olympics, but have maybe a talk on from an athlete, maybe from the local colleges, or maybe from a friend that maybe excelled in athletics and can kind of tie it into the faith. I was really blessed to have a parishioner who's a dear friend of mine at our parish who was in the Olympics, and she was able to give a great talk about just being in the Summer Olympics and how that was important to her and how her faith was such an important part of that road to being an Olympian. And she's a great speaker. Her name is Priscilla Loomis, and I'm going to put her information in the show notes, because if you are on the East Coast, anywhere in the New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia area, she definitely can come to your ministry and give a great talk. But in addition to that, if you don't have a talk lined up, don't worry. Here's how you're going to have your Olympics go. Okay, so after that opening prayer, and maybe that talk, you're going to now divide into teams. And you can do this any way you like. I typically like to have some of my young adult leaders pick the teams. This way they're kind of even. I always use an opportunity in faith here to kind of pick somebody maybe first who doesn't usually get picked first and boost that self-esteem. So my young adults in my ministry always knew to look for that person and seek them out. Or you can have some of your youth just be team captains. So like I said, they might be inviting their friends and wanting to be on the same team as them. So that's important. Often when we've picked teams, I also ask to pick 2 people at a time. And the reason I do this is, one, very practical. It moves the picking process along and the indecisiveness along. And then 2, it also creates an opportunity if there are kind of friends that are together and they came to youth group together, not really close to other people, and they feel awkward with, that middle school and high school ages where they just feel awkward with other people they don't know and weirded out by them. So in that case, if you want to maybe pick 2 people together, this way there's youth that are friends and they feel comfortable, their teammate is one of their good friends, so be it. I've done that as well. So as the youth minister, what the pulse of your ministry is, what those friend groupings are, and you can make the best decision at the time. Okay, so you make teams. We usually would come up with a country then for your team name. So we'd ask them to pick a different country to be represented for their Olympic team. And then you have all these events spread throughout the evening. So what I would do is I would take the time frame of the entire evening that we have allotted for those events, and I would just put random events that are open throughout the entire time. And what I mean by this is events that didn't have to be on a specific time. They could just be ongoing. I would call them the ongoing events. And keep in mind, when you're ministering to youth, you're not like just trying to get the athletes, right? So I would always make it known, make it very clear when I would advertise Youth Group Olympics that it's not just about sports. And you'll see that in just a second. So the different ongoing events for a specific summer or winter Olympic would be a drawing contest where they had paper, or if it was outside during the summer, chalk for chalk art, and they can draw a picture or draw some chalk art that was judged then later on a first, second, and third place basis. I would also have events that were whether they be outside or inside, stuff like cornhole, ping pong, bubble gum blowing contest, paper airplane flying contest, different events that could be taking place throughout the evening that you didn't have to have somebody like judging them the whole time. They could be kind of ongoing. And each of them would have a point value. So I would have a young adult at that specific station, at that specific area where that contest was taking place, and they would award the winner. For instance, one of them was always arm wrestling, which is always fun. And kind of on the same table area was also rock, paper, scissors contest. And in that sense, I would have the young adult kind of planted between the two and keeping an eye on who the winner was of each little round. And when they would challenge somebody from a different country to play that rock, paper, scissors or that arm wrestling, the winner was awarded a point value. So I have them right here. The winner was awarded like a little index card that just had the point value. And then I would have someone who was in charge of tallying all the points throughout the evening. So when a youth would win, say an arm wrestling contest, and they would be awarded these 5 points, they would take it up to the scorekeeper who was using a dry erase board and would keep a tally of the different points that each team they were rallying, they were creating, they were getting, they were adding up in their point value. And throughout the evening, we would announce Team USA is in first place with 1,000 points. Team Italy has 975 points. And Team Bangladesh, you need to hurry up and get some more points. You guys only have 300. Come on, guys. So again, we would use that as kind of encouragement, get them to do the different games. And then we'd have some games that were just offered one time. For instance, we would do a team pyramid building contest where in 30 seconds or less, they had to build a team pyramid and hold it, and whatever team held it the longest got the points for that specific event. Or other times we would do a knockout shooting contest with basketballs, and the first place winner who won the event would get 50 points for their team. And then maybe the second place winner would get 30 points. And the third place winner would get maybe 10 points. And so those timed events where you have to kind of be time specific, okay, this is taking place now, I would just announce it, and say in 5 minutes we're going to have a knockout contest down on the basketball court. Meet us there if you want to represent your team in that contest. So there was a lot of different fun things we did. I mentioned a bunch of them. I'm going to put a bunch in the show notes as well. But literally, you can do anything. You could take this any creative way. Like one time, we did a shoe flipping contest where you had your shoe, you unlaced it, or you took it off a little bit, put it loosely on your foot, flip your shoe up onto a table and had to stand up the right way, right? Get it to stand up on the table, right side up. If you did that, you got 5 points for your team. So fun little games that you don't have to be athletic or artistic for. Okay, now, here's how we end the night. At the end of the night then, when we have the points tallied, we'd also do the awards for those that were judged. Typically, this was usually the art contest, and we would announce those at the end of the evening, what winning team won that drawing contest or that chalk art contest, and they would be awarded a good amount of points for that winning project, because usually it took a lot longer than just the shoe flipping contest, right? And then beyond that, we would have a big relay race at the end where all the teams participated. They would have 4 to 5, usually about 4 people per team participate in this relay, where it was all kinds of fun stuff like dizzy bats, rolling dice for a certain number, scooter races, wheelbarrow races where you're holding the other person, working in teams of 2, and it was set up as a relay where they had to do the different activities and then tag their next person in from their team. And that winning relay really would determine really kind of who jumped really ahead and won, because that relay would be worth a lot of point values. Sometimes we would do like 500 points for the first place team, 200 for the second place team, 100 for the third place team. And so in the end, it could be anybody's game with that relay, which was really fun because everyone was engaged at the end. Everyone was excited, cheering on their team, screaming from the sidelines. And it always, always, always was an awesome, enthusiastic time. These youth remember these fun events. These youth remember them. They're creating great memories with their friends, bonding, fellowship, and of course at the end, after you announce the winners, you would have prizes. So here's how we tie in the faith a little bit more. Sometimes I would have those gift card prizes, maybe $5 each, but often the medals that they were awarded were holy medals. They were medals of Miraculous Medal or St. Joseph or St. Michael, and they were little medals that they received then for being the winning team. And so those medals represented the gold, the silver, and the bronze, and that's where the faith got tied in at the end of the night. And then, of course, ending with that closing prayer. So these fun events that can be worked into your youth ministry schedule truly, in different ways, touch the hearts and then, in turn, touch the souls of the youth. God bless.